So if a person prefers to be homeless and unemployed, should you have to pay for it? Stay tuned to find out in Reality Unplugged. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Reality Unplugged. For the last 2 nights, outraged protesters have gathered at Echo Lake Park in LA to protest the removal of the homeless community there that had been set up for the better part of the last year. They're protesting the fact that just because the unhoused neighbors are on public ground and using it for their own uses and tearing it apart is not a reason for Governor Newsom or Eric Garcetti to come in and forcibly remove them. Now, this sounds very horrible. It sounds like they're coming through and they're just pushing. One sign I saw said, "We will not be pushed to a dark corner." But these people are being removed from public land and put into hotel rooms and temporary housing while they're looking for jobs and looking for places to live that don't include endangering public property and public people trying to use that property. Last night, this outrage culminated in a standoff between protesters and LAPD as workers tried to move in to remove the last of the homeless community so that they could get in and start doing renovations to the park. Now, these protesters started using strobe lights and different kind of things to blind officers and distract them from what they needed to do. This protest culminated in what came to be known as the showdown over the homeless in Echo Park. Only this showdown ended with 182 protesters being arrested for trying to disrupt the peaceful operation of the city. Now, this is being played out as rich white people trying to clean up and make their city pretty and not wanting what is considered unsightly or unsavory to be out in the open but swept back into the corners. This is another twist by the liberal media and people who are so addicted to virtue signaling that they no longer have the common sense to do any kind of research or think things through. This park had been set up as a long-standing piece of history in LA, with many great events happening there. But over the past year, it has been taken over by people who simply don't want to pay rent and live by rules. I say that very, very humbly, because I understand that hard times fall on everybody. But some of these people, when offered housing in a hotel to try to help them get through a transitionary period, literally said that they did not choose to get a free room and have to live by the rules enforced there. These are choices these people were making, and if it wasn't one thing that they were simply choosing to live this way, first off, they're on what's considered public land, but everybody understands that public land is paid for by taxpayer dollars that they weren't paying, not in property tax, not in any kind of thing that would actually help the land that they were claiming. Secondly, this place had become a place of fear for the residents living in Echo Park. They were afraid to walk through it. They were afraid to be there at night. There were drugs being sold. Some of the people who were staying at Echo Park had become slumlords, charging the rest of them to be allowed to stay there, even though they were on public property as is. Women were being abused and sold. People were being hurt. 4 people had died over the past year because of this park. 182 virtue signalers were arrested for being idiots. Let the governor, let the mayor do what he's trying to do to help these people, the park, and the city. It's good to note that there was no violence involved in this protest. While there was a lot of people standing against what needed to be done and a lot of LAPD trying to force what needed to be done, no violence broke out. There was no police brutality. There was no anyone getting hurt. This was simply the police force trying to help both its housed and unhoused residents. The narrative would have you believe that these are all heart of gold people who are being mistreated because they choose to live a different way or they've fallen on hard times and they're not able to help their circumstances. But with so many declining to go to the free housing because they didn't want to live by society's rules, and the rest of them scattering because they didn't want to be caught or they didn't want to be prosecuted for the criminal activity going on there, it's a good thing that this park is being renovated for a safer Los Angeles. Remember everybody, facts are your friends, not your enemy. Don't go with the narrative that you're being told just because there's a whole bunch of people who think that they're doing something good and trying to convince the rest of the world that they're good people. Most of these people who come out to these protests are trying to take a shortcut to something good instead of going through proper channels and actually working hard at making a difference in the world by, I don't know, maybe rehousing and paying for people to live until they can get their feet back under them. Instead, you just want everybody to leave the people alone so you can get out and say that you defended somebody. Let's knock the virtue signaling off and actually put in some elbow grease and get some work done. Thanks for tuning in again, guys. If you haven't already, punch that bell icon and give me get the notifications on all of our new content. Subscribe to our channel so you can be in tune with everything that's going on. We try to give as much as up-to-the-date information on what's going on as possible. And give us a comment down below. Let's start a conversation. This is Reality Unplugged, praying for America.